Okay, so welcome everyone. In this tutorial, we'll be creating a full stack website forum using Laravel, and then I'll be making use of Laravel 10 and then Laravel Breeze to create my authentication. So, like I've always said, using Laravel, you don't need to like start writing all your application logic for registration and login and all those stuff. You can just like do things with the libraries that comes with Laravel. So you just like start writing less code. And so on this section, I'll be creating a full stack web application, which is a forum type of website where you can like post a discussion and then make comments, something like Nairaland, Reddit, and the likes. So let me just go to view and go to terminal, and then I'll also open my browser and then go to ChatGPT, which is my AI companion. So the next thing that we need to, one thing that we need to have in mind is that we need to ensure that we install SAMP, which is this software where we can get it at sourceforge.net/project/SAMP, which is this URL my cursor is pointing to. And then we also have to ensure that we have Composer, which is at this URL, get composer.org/download. So I'll not be doing all of that because I already installed it on my system. And then when you install it, if you're on a Windows PC, you have to make sure that you add both Composer and PHP to parts. And then to add it to parts, you can Google that. And so when you add to parts, you'll be able to do something like this with your PHP application and be able to run PHP in terminal. So you can see the version of PHP I have is PHP 8.2. So that is just it. Now let me install Laravel. So I'll just go into this and ask, I want to install Laravel 10, blah, 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 like that. Give me the command. And also Laravel Breeze. My application name is forum. So it is going to give us the command to install Laravel. So it says network error. Okay, let's try one more time and then let's see. So I have issues with my network. Let me just try and like do this again. So my network is back up, and then that's just kind of issue you face once in a while. So it's saying, "Hi, how can I assist you today?" Let's try and reload. I want to install Laravel 10 and Laravel Breeze using Composer. My application name is forum. So by just doing this, you'll be able to get the command from the AI companion. It's going to just give you the command at one go. So you can see step by step, open your terminal and run. So I'll run this. And then when I run this to install Laravel, so where I'm creating this, I'm not meant to like so let me just try and delete this and kill the terminal. So I'm not meant to create it on that part. I will want to go into one of these folders where I can see my application, which is for example, let me go into the document section. So cd documents. This is after my users folder, after my computer name. Then I'll paste this now. It will now create a new Laravel project at that point. Then the next thing that we do is to run this other command, which is this. But then before running this command, it asks you to like go into this forum folder and all those stuff. So we have to ensure that all the Laravel applications and the libraries are installed first. So you can just skip this section and then skip this part because it takes up to like 3 to 5 minutes for the Laravel dependencies to get installed, depending on how fast your network connectivity is and your computer. So I'll just skip this part, and then I would go to this other step. So I'll just copy this command while waiting for that to run. So let's just wait for this to like install. Then let's just give it about 2 more minutes. So it's trying to install so fast and then it's moving at a very high speed. So you can skip this part when watching this video, then it's going to just like go away. So about some few more dependencies to install, and then we get our Laravel 10 application. So let's just wait for the installation to like install this Laravel application, and then we are all good to go. So some few more dependencies, and then we are wrapping up with installing Laravel. So you can just keep this part if you're watching, because this is meant to like take about 3 to 5 minutes of your time, depending on your network speed and the capacity of your computer RAM. So this takes a little bit of time. Okay, so we are good to go, and then the Laravel installation is almost completed. And then when this finish like running, and then it's going to install Laravel. Now the next thing that we can do after installation of Laravel is to generate a key. And then to be able to generate a key, you run PHP artisan key generate. But then by default, I think from Laravel 8, the keys now gets generated for you. And then when you generate a key to be able to like encrypt your application and then prevent some issues that might like arise, assuming you are like writing a normal PHP code where you can just like have your application being exposed to some security flaws. So now we've created a forum folder. So we see into forum, like our application, like our AI companion has told us. And then we just run this composer require library base and stuff like that. So this will like require the Breeze library. So the Breeze library is what set up authentication right from the box. That is all the login, restriction form, the profile, all those stuff. You don't need to start breaking the sweat and start writing them. Everything has been done for you. So you just need to like install this and then run some commands to be able to like use them. So you can see we've installed Breeze. Now the next that we need to do is to say npm install because Breeze does works with npm packages. So say npm install, then we are going to install some npm dependencies that Breeze requires. And then let me scroll down. So we still have to do PHP artisan Breeze install and all those stuff. So after npm install, we run this command PHP artisan Breeze install. So I'm using the default Blade. I'm not using any single page application framework such as Vue, React, Civet, and other stuff. So I'm only using this. So this is what I'll be copying because I'll just be using plain old HTML. I'm not working with an API endpoint. I just want to create a full stack web application that is not making use of the REST API. So I'll copy this command, breeze, PHP artisan breeze install. So this is what we use, and then we say PHP artisan breeze install, and then it's going to ask you blade with affine, blah 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 like that. So you choose blade and type blade, which is the default one at the top. And then would you like dark mode support? Of course, yes, for the thing with CSS and all those stuff. And so which testing framework do you prefer? We don't have PES installed, we have PHP unit, so let's just leave it as PHP. Okay, it says the error, okay, it's invalid. Okay, let's just give it 0 as the answer. It's going to install PHP unit. So PHP unit is used for test driven development so that whenever you are developing, you are testing at the same time. So you test if your applications are working fine, the buttons, the URLs, the stuff like that. But we'll not be like running all those tests and all those stuff. We are just doing this for the dependency sake so that the dependency is going to like work perfectly. So after this installation is done, the next thing that we need to do is to start like writing our code base and then just run a few commands and stuff like that. So you can see because we've done npm install, which we've installed Vite and all those stuff that Laravel Breeze needs. So we don't need to start like stressing ourselves again. So what is the next thing that we need to do? So we've done this, done npm install. So we just need to do npm run dev, which is to start the URL of our website to be able to access our page. You can see running at localhost 5173, but then you are not going to be accessing at localhost 5173. So let's create a new instance of the terminal. That is for live refresh whenever you are working with the front end. So we'll be creating a new instance for our back end, which is for Laravel. So we say PHP artisan serve. Okay, so we need to cd into the folder that we are having our forum, which is here you see PHP artisan serve. So now we'll serve the environment server and then we'll navigate to port 8000. But before I do that, I need to migrate my application. So I've ended that terminal. So I'll need to migrate my PHP application, that is to create a database. So say PHP artisan migrate. So this will create the default database with the default modules that come with PHP, which is the with Laravel rather, which is the user model for like registering and logging of a user. So whenever this has been done, you can just start a new application and be able to like register and log in and create an account. Very easy, very simple, so fast. You don't need to start like writing all those logic from the scratch. So what does it say? It says no credential could be made because I have not started my SAMP server. So some of this issue I'm facing is kind of good. So you'll be able to like have a knowledge of why some errors occur. So because I've not started my SAMP server, then it can't create any connection. Now the next thing I need to do is to say, let me just say I need to open the forum application. So let me go to where the forum application is. But then I can just run code dots on my terminal and then it is just going to open a new window of the forum. So that way we have two windows that are running. So what do we need to do? Now let's click on view again, terminal. Let's close the previous window so we can see all our Laravel files that we've installed. Don't get confused. This is just like I'm opening a new window to show all the files that I'm working with, that I'll be working with. So I'll be able to access them. So what next? We say npm run dev to start our front end, which is this, and then we'll add a new instance of the terminal and then go to our .env file first, then rename our database for the connection to the MySQL application. So we say forumdb because I've already created a database name called forum before. So we say forumdb and then we say php artisan migrate after we save our .env file. Yes, it is now going to ask you a question. Just enter yes and then create this. Now let's start our backend and say PHP artisan serve. So our Laravel application now works perfectly fine. So just copy this URL or just do control click on your Visual Studio Code and click on the URL. It is going to open on your default browser. So that is it. We've installed Laravel successfully. Then we can see a fresh working page of a fresh Laravel installation. Now the first thing that we see is the blade file. So this blade file is what renders our front end and any information that is coming from the back end will be rendering at the front end. And then when working in website development, you can't see your back end information except you are working with APIs and then you are like technical. So anything you are doing on your back end is kind of abstract it can only be rendered on your front end when you send that information to the front end. So the blade file, which is this file that is showing this Laravel stuff, is what renders what is coming from the back end. And then this is what you can interact with. When you click on this, you can go to the Laravel website and all those stuff. So where do we locate this file, which is the default? So we can locate this file by saying, first of all, click Ctrl P on our keyboard and search for routes. And then we'll go to the web file. Since we're not working with the REST API now, we'll go to the web file. You can just check my previous tutorial on how to create a REST API and all those stuff. So you can see this is the dashboard and all those stuff. And then you can see some of these routes that says slash dashboard return view. So all these views that you are seeing, these are the templates that are located in this folder, resources, views. Then you see welcome. You can see dashboard, which is this. And you can see some of these which are in some folders, which is prefixed by profile.edit, profile.blah blah blah like that. So let's just say we want to like change what is in this our front end, which is this. All we need to just do is to say we'll delete everything that is here and say Control A, delete it and save. When we save it and we reload, we'll have the empty view. That is, we've deleted the default view that comes with Laravel. And then we now want to like route our application to a new view, that is a new file that shows our front end. And then since we are creating a forum, we want a kind of page like, for example, let me go to this website, nairaland.com. So we are creating something similar to this, and then you see it in the forum. We have all these links for different thread, different section, and then we have some of these links for the um, posts that the users have made, and then we can see some of this information. So this is the similar thing that we'll be building. And so because we are using our default welcome.blade.php, I don't want to like work with that. So to be able to change this default view, we can just create a new blade file and give it a name, and then return this view by adding the name here. So this is what I'm trying to say. So just click on resources and then say new file, and then let me give it landing dot, then you add blade to it because we are working with Laravel. So that way, that's the only way Laravel can see your files, landing.blade.php in the default resource folder. So when you create landing.blade.php, you can just say echo, so PHP tags and stuff like that, and say echo welcome. So this is it, and then you save it. Now in web.php, change your view, that is slash is for the default route, change it to landing. You don't need to add a blade. So when you do this, now let's see what happens. So let's reload this. Okay, it says view landing was not found. Are you sure the view exists and is a blade.php file? Of course it is. So let's render an HTML with it. Probably because we are using PHP tag. I say welcome. Now let's see. Let's save it. And then if this doesn't work, the next thing that we need to do is to like clear our route issue and say PHP, create a new instance of the terminal and say PHP artisan, and then run some commands to clear the route. So PHP artisan route clear. What's wrong with my keyboard? So I have some issues with my keyboard that we, and then we can just say PHP artisan, just type route and then route, then put prefaces with an a semicolon with a colon and say clear. So when you do this, You just need to click enter. So this is going to clear the route cache. Now let's see what happens when we clear the route cache. So you should be able to see the landing page, which is at this default view session, this landing.play.php. So it says view landing not found. So what could be the cause of this issue? Return view landing and it's not found. But then it's on the same folder with the resources and the views. So we didn't pass landing into the views. Now this is where the issue is. So the resources folder contains the landing.play.php, but then it's meant to be in the views page, in the views folder rather. So when you move landing to the views folder, that way it can be able to access it because this is just like a file and folder issue. So it has to like only access anything that is in the views folder for it to be able to access the landing page. Now, since we've deleted the main view, which is that you can see welcome. And so I forgot that we are even using alt module refreshing, which means whenever we are working, our server is reloading, that is live server. So we can see the default welcome. And then let me just try, maybe we can just do some echo and stuff like that. And then echo hello world. And then let's see, or let's just say hello Laravel, because we are working with Laravel. Anyone who has been writing PHP before will understand what the echo statement means. So does it change anything or does it cause an issue? So it says hello Laravel. So PHP works fine, perfectly fine on it. So that's just it for this section. Now I've been able to like install Laravel. I've been able to like install Laravel Breeze for my authentication. And then I've been able to show you how to create a view in Laravel, that is by changing the default view and then how to like work with it in the route files. So the route is where you store all your routes. For example, if you are trying to access slash profile in your URL, or maybe slash chat slash comment and all those routes that you will see on a normal site. For example, if you go to Nairaland.com now, for example, you see this slash default, which is the default page. I think this Nairaland was built with Django or so. And then you can see this default URL. This is what renders this our default page. So if we start writing some CSS, some styles and all those stuff, we'll be able to like add some information to the landing.build.php. For example, if I start saying just saying div and then I just write a div and then for the default landing page, I just say um heading 2 and say welcome to my forum. Then maybe I just style the heading 2 with some inline styles and say style color is equals to maybe red. And then I do this and then I refresh. You'll see an heading 2 that says welcome to my forum. If I desire to say align, test align, I'm just writing some basic beginner's style CSS. Then you can see this is just the default page that renders the first page, the index page that you land on. And then let's say for example we want to go to one of these posts. For example, we want to read some stuff about this, something like this. The customization URL, we can do that in our routes.php, which is the web.php file under the routes folder. So we can say slash, maybe let's just duplicate and say slash some link, for example, some link, for example. So if you say some link, that means we have to create a new blade file for that some link. And then we can also still allow it to point to that's our file. But then let's make sure it points to this welcome.blade file. So we say welcome and then save this. So slash some link. Then what happens when we go to route slash some link? So we should see an empty page. So very good. Everything is working perfectly fine. So I'll see you on the next section of this tutorial, and then we'll be able to like start working with the Laravel Breeze instead of start creating our HTML and writing all those stressful stuff. We won't be doing that. Thank you very much.